6. Messerschmitt, Bf-109 circle above the Loire Valley like wolves around wounded prey. Below them, a lone Republic P-47 Thunderbolt limps through broken clouds, trailing white coolant vapor. The German pilots see an easy kill, a rookie separated from his formation. No wingman, no altitude advantage. They commit to the attack. Then the P-47 does something that rewrites the rules. It rolls hard left and turns inside the lead 109's firing solution. Impossible. The German radios erupt. "He's turning with us." "We mocked das." The engagement lasts 6 minutes. When it ends, the P-47 is still flying, and 6 veteran aces are racing back to base, fuel critical, nerves shattered. France, September 6, 1944. The sky over occupied France smells of aviation fuel and scorched metal. At 18,000 feet, the air is thin enough to freeze spit before it hits the oxygen mask. The P-47 cockpit is cramped despite the aircraft's bulk. 7 tons of radial engine and armor plate wrapped around a single pilot. Radio chatter crackles with static and urgency. Bomber formations call out flak positions. Fighter escorts report fuel states. Below, the patchwork of French countryside stretches endless, rivers like silver threads through green and brown fields. This is the war in its 5th year. The Luftwaffe is bleeding pilots faster than training schools can replace them, but the ones still flying are dangerous. Veterans with hundreds of hours over Russia, North Africa, the Channel, they know every trick, every angle, every mistake Allied pilots make. The doctrine for P-47 pilots is carved in stone and written in blood. The Thunderbolt is not a dogfighter, it is a heavyweight. Fast in a dive, armored like a tank, guns that can saw a bomber in half. But turn radius, forget it. The published numbers are grim. A Bf-109 at 250 mph can sustain a turn radius of roughly 800 feet. A P-47 at the same speed needs 200. Simple physics, the 109 is lighter, cleaner, purpose-built for maneuverability. The P-47 weighs as much as a delivery truck. Trying to outturn a 109 is suicide. Training officers say it plainly. If you get bounced, roll out and dive. Use your speed, never turn. The statistics back it up. P-47 pilots who violate this rule and try to dogfight last an average of 3 sorties. Some last 1. Into this equation steps a 22-year-old corporal from Central California who has failed out of fighter training twice. Raymond Wetmore does not look like a warrior. Thin, quiet, with wire-rimmed glasses fogged by cockpit condensation. He speaks in careful sentences as if testing each word for structural integrity before releasing it. His squadron mates call him the mechanic because he spends more time under his aircraft than in it. Some call him the thinker. A few just call him strange. He does not drink. He does not chase glory. He sketches diagrams in a worn notebook and asks questions that irritate his superiors. Questions like, what if the turn radius charts are incomplete? The Wokati, Republic P-47, Thunderbolt earns its nicknames honestly. The Jug, the Flying Milk Bottle, 7 tons of scrap metal. It is the heaviest single-engine fighter in the war. Empty weight, 10,000 pounds. Combat loaded, 14,500. The Pratt & Whitney R2800 engine alone weighs 2,400 pounds. 18 cylinders arranged in 2 rows, producing 2,000 horsepower. Enough power to drag the massive airframe through the sky at 430 mph in level flight. In a dive, P-47s have been clocked at 550 mph. Nothing catches them going down, but turning? That requires different physics. Turn performance depends on wing loading, the ratio of weight to wing area. The P-47's wings span 40 feet, 9 inches. Total area, 300 square feet. Wing loading, 48 pounds per square foot at combat weight. Compare that to the Bf-109G, empty weight, 5,900 pounds. Combat loaded, 7,500. Wingspan, 32 feet, 6 inches. Wing area, 174 square feet. Wing loading, 43 pounds per square foot. On paper, the 109 should win every turning. Engagement. It does. Intelligence reports from mid-1944 confirm it. When P-47 pilots ignore doctrine and attempt sustained turning dogfights with 109s, the loss rate exceeds 60%. The Thunderbolt bleeds energy in turns. The heavy airframe demands constant power to maintain airspeed. The 109 can sustain a 4G turn at 250 mph for 12 seconds before stalling. The P-47 can manage maybe 8 seconds before the buffet warning signals impending departure from controlled flight. Pilots feel it in their bones. The stick goes mushy. The wings start to shudder. Push it further, and the aircraft snaps inverted, spinning toward the Earth at 200 feet per second. Recovery takes altitude you do not have in combat, so the doctrine is simple and absolute. Do not turn with German fighters. Use your strengths, dive speed, zoom climb, hit and run. The P-47 groups that follow this rule survive, the ones that do not get cycled through replacement pilots every 6 weeks. The 8th Air Force loses an average of 30 P-47s per month in the summer of 1944. Not all to turning fights, but enough that the training pipeline cannot keep pace. New pilots arrive at operational squadrons with 200 hours total flight time, maybe 20 hours in type. They are taught 3 rules: stay fast, stay high, stay alive. Combat is not the place for experimentation. There is no room for improvisation when a Bf-109 is closing at a combined speed of 600 mph. You follow the checklist. You trust the manual. You survive or you do not. The aircraft cannot do what the aircraft cannot do. Physics is not negotiable. Except Raymond Wetmore believes there is a variable missing from the equation, something the engineers did not account for, something hidden in the control surfaces. Raymond Wetmore is born in 1922 in Merced County, California. His father runs a 200-acre farm, alfalfa, cotton, some cattle. The land is flat and endless. The sky stretches forever. Young Raymond grows up under both, learning to fix what breaks. Tractors, combines, irrigation pumps. The Wetmore farm cannot afford mechanics, so every breakdown becomes a lesson. Raymond's father teaches him to think through problems. Don't force it. Understand why it is stuck, then unstick it. By age 14, Raymond can rebuild a tractor transmission by himself. He does not work from manuals. He disassembles the mechanism, studies how the parts interact, then reassembles it better than before. Neighbors bring him broken equipment. He fixes most of it. He charges nothing. He simply likes solving puzzles. In high school, Raymond is invisible, not bullied, not popular, simply there. He joins the science club. He reads engineering journals borrowed from the county library. His teachers describe him as meticulous. His classmates barely remember him. He graduates in 1940 with decent grades and an acceptance letter to California Polytechnic. He wants to study mechanical engineering, design aircraft, maybe work for Lockheed or Douglas. Then December 7th, 1941, rewrites everyone's plans. Raymond enlists in January 1942. He lists pilot as his first choice. The recruiter looks at his glasses, his slight build, his quiet demeanor. "You sure you do not want to be a mechanic?" Raymond insists. He wants to fly. Flight training is a disaster. Not because Raymond cannot fly. He can. He is smooth on the controls, precise with his navigation, methodical in his procedures. But he is slow. He overthinks. During simulated combat, he calculates angles while his opponent is already shooting. His instructor writes, "Competent aviator, lacks aggression, not suited for fighters." Raymond washes out of advanced training in July 1942. He is reassigned to transport duty. He flies C-47s for 8 months, cargo runs, paratroop drops, medical evacuations. It is safe. It is boring. It is not what he wants. In March 1943, he applies for fighter training again. His application is denied. In October 1943, he applies a third time. The Army is desperate for pilots. Standards are lowered. Raymond is accepted. This time he barely passes. His gunnery scores are mediocre. His dog-fighting instincts are non-existent. But he completes the syllabus. In February 1944, he is assigned to P-47 Thunderbolts. It is considered a mercy posting. The jug is forgiving. It brings pilots home even after taking brutal damage. If Raymond is going to survive combat, this is his best chance. His final training instructor writes a note in his file. Wetmore will never be an ace, too cautious, too analytical, but he might live long enough to finish his tour if he sticks to escort duty and follows the manual. Raymond reads the evaluation without emotion. He has been underestimated his entire life. He is used to it. Wetmore arrives at his squadron in England on March 12, 1944. The 365th Fighter Group stationed at RAF Beaulieu. The airfield is mud and Nissen huts and the constant smell of coal smoke. His squadron mates are a mix of veterans and replacements. The veterans eye him with the weary assessment of men who have stopped learning names. Replacements die quickly. Learning names is a waste of emotional energy. Wetmore does not make an impression. He is assigned a bunk, a footlocker, and a P-47D with the tail number 26884. The crew chief is a staff sergeant from Brooklyn named Dutch Callahan. Dutch has kept 4 pilots alive through 6 months of combat. He maintains his aircraft with obsessive precision. He does not tolerate pilots who abuse his machinery. The first time Dutch meets Wetmore, the pilot is lying on his back under the P-47's belly, staring up at the aileron control rods. Dutch asks what he is doing. Wetmore says he is checking the cable tension. Dutch says the tension is fine. He checked it this morning. Wetmore nods but does not move. He pulls out a small notebook and sketches the control linkage. Dutch watches, suspicious. Most pilots do not care how the aircraft works, they just fly it. Wetmore is different. Over the next week, Dutch notices a pattern. Wetmore arrives at the flight line early. He walks around his P-47, touching control surfaces, moving the stick through its full range of motion, feeling the resistance. He asks Dutch questions. How much force does it take to achieve full aileron deflection? What is the maximum roll rate at 250 pr/min? Dutch does not know. No one has ever asked. Wetmore's notebook fills with diagrams and calculations. He sketches the P-47's wing from multiple angles. He measures aileron dimensions with a tape measure. Width 18 inches, length 8 feet 3 inches per side, total surface area 24.75 square feet. He notes the control cable routing, the pulley ratios, the linkage geometry. At night, while other pilots play cards or write letters home, Wetmore sits on his bunk and runs equations. He is testing a hypothesis. The P-47's published turn performance is based on standard control inputs. But what if you do not use standard inputs? What if you maximize roll authority first, then apply elevator? The ailerons are enormous, larger than any other fighter in the inventory. That surface area creates leverage. Roll faster, transition to a knife-edge bank sooner, and the turn radius should tighten. The math suggests it is possible. No one has tried it because doctrine says not to. His flight leader, Captain Marcus Holling, catches him sketching one evening. Holling glances at the notebook, sees the wing diagrams and force vectors, and shakes his head. "You think too much, Wetmore. Just fly the damn airplane." Wetmore closes the notebook. He does not argue, but he does not stop calculating either. Wetmore's theory forms slowly across weeks of observation and calculation. It begins with a simple question that no one else asks. Why are the P-47's ailerons so large? Every other design element of the Thunderbolt prioritizes straight-line performance. The massive engine, the streamlined fuselage, the wide-set landing gear for ground stability, but the ailerons are disproportionately huge, 18 inches wide, over 8 feet long on each wing, more surface area than a Spitfire's entire elevator. Republic Aviation did not design them that large by accident. There must be a reason. Wetmore studies combat footage from the squadron's gun cameras. Frame by frame, he watches P-47s maneuvering. Most pilots initiate turns the way they were taught. Bank angle first, coordinated with rudder, then back pressure on the stick to pull the nose around. Standard procedure. Clean. Predictable. Slow. The aircraft wallows into the turn, trading airspeed for direction change. By the time the P-47 completes a 180-degree reversal, 4 seconds have passed and 300 feet of altitude are gone. A Bf-109 can complete the same turn in 2.8 seconds with half the altitude loss. But Wetmore notices something else in the footage. In one engagement, a P-47 takes snap, evasive action. The pilot slams the stick full left without coordinating rudder. The aircraft rolls violently, almost instantly, 90 degrees of bank in under a second. The pilot then pulls back on the stick, bringing the nose around in a tight arc. The maneuver is messy. The aircraft shudders. But it works. The attacking Bf-109 overshoots. Wetmore rewinds the footage, watches it again. The rapid roll changes everything. Instead of turning in a wide, flat circle, the P-47 pivots almost on its axis. The massive ailerons generate enough roll authority to knife-edge the aircraft before the turn even begins. Once knife-edged, the elevator becomes the primary turning surface, pulling perpendicular to the original flight path. The physics are sound. The execution is dangerous. Wetmore sketches it out. A standard coordinated turn uses all 3 axes gradually. His theory uses 2 axes aggressively. Full aileron deflection, maximum roll rate, then full elevator once the wings are vertical. The G-forces would be brutal, 6, maybe 7 Gs. The airframe stress would push limits, but the turn radius would shrink. How much? He calculates based on the P-47's known roll rate of 110 degrees per second and its elevator authority at 250 mph. If he enters the roll at the exact moment an attacker commits to his firing pass, the time to reversal could drop to under 2 seconds. Fast enough to disrupt a German's firing solution, fast enough to survive. He approaches Captain Halling with the theory. Halling listens for 30 seconds, then cuts him off. You want to snap roll a 7-ton fighter at combat speed during an engagement? Wetmore nods. Halling's expression hardens. That is how you rip the wings off, Wetmore. That is how you kill yourself and make me write a letter to your mother. Fly the aircraft the way you were taught. Don't experiment. Wetmore does not argue. He salutes. He leaves. But the theory will not leave his mind. Wetmore flies his first combat mission on March 28, 1944, bomber escort to Stuttgart. His element consists of 4 P-47s flying high cover at 24,000 feet. The bombers are B-17s, 200 of them stacked in combat boxes, their contrails writing white lines across the German sky. The mission brief is standard. Maintain formation. Engage only if bounced. Priority is protecting the bombers, not scoring kills. Wetmore's wingman is Lieutenant Paul Krieger, a farm kid from Wisconsin with 12 missions under his belt. Krieger flies tight formation, his wingtip 6 feet from Wetmore's. The radio is silent except for terse position reports. They cross into Germany at 09:42 hours. Flak starts immediately. Black puffs of 88mm shells bursting at altitude, each explosion a fist of shrapnel and concussion. The bombers fly through it without deviating. Some take hits. One B-17 falls out of formation, trailing smoke, crew bailing out into the freezing air. Wetmore watches the parachutes blossom. 9 of them. The aircraft spins toward Earth, empty. The formation closes the gap and continues. At 10:15 hours, the Luftwaffe arrives. Bf-109s, maybe 20 of them, climbing from below. They split into pairs, positioning themselves for head-on attacks against the bombers, standard tactic. The German fighters have learned that American gunners struggle with high-speed closure rates. The P-47 escorts dive to intercept. Wetmore follows Krieger down. The sky becomes chaos. Aircraft everywhere, crossing, diving, climbing. Tracers arc through the air. A P-47 explodes, hit by cannon fire. Wetmore's mouth goes dry. A Bf-109 flashes across his nose, maybe 400 yards out. Wetmore instinctively pulls lead and fires. His 850 caliber guns hammer. The recoil shakes the airframe. Tracers reach toward the 109, but fall short. The German is gone before Wetmore can adjust. Krieger's voice crackles on the radio. "Break left! Break left!" Wetmore looks right. A second 109 is diving on him from 4 o'clock high, cannon winking. Wetmore follows doctrine. He rolls wings level and shoves the stick forward, diving away. The P-47 accelerates instantly, 400 km/h, 420. 450, the 109 cannot follow. It pulls up, abandoning the chase. Wetmore's heart hammers, his hands shake on the stick. He survived by running. It feels like cowardice. The engagement lasts 9 minutes. The bombers complete their run and turn for home. The P-47s reform, counting heads. 2 are missing. Krieger is still with Wetmore. They fly back in silence. After landing, Wetmore sits in his cockpit for 5 minutes, hands still gripping the stick. Dutch Callahan climbs onto the wing and taps the canopy. "You hit?" Wetmore shakes his head. He climbs out. His legs are weak. He walks to the debriefing room and reports what he saw. Standard engagement, no kills. He does not mention the fear. No one does. By early September, Wetmore has flown 31 combat missions. He has survived longer than most replacements. He has 0 kills. His gunnery is adequate, but not exceptional. His formation discipline is solid. He follows orders. He does not take risks. His squadron mates barely notice him. Paul Krieger was shot down over France in July. Wetmore flew with him for 4 months. At Krieger's memorial service, Wetmore stands in the back and says nothing. He still does not know if his theory works. He has not tested it. Doctrine has kept him alive, and alive is enough. On September 6, 1944, Wetmore is assigned to a bomber escort mission deep into France. Target: rail yards near Tours. The mission brief is routine. 200 B-17s, 80 P-47 escorts. Expected enemy resistance: moderate. Weather: scattered clouds at 15,000 feet. Takeoff is 0730 hours. Wetmore's element consists of 4 aircraft. He is flying number 3 position. His leader is Captain Marcus Halling, the same officer who dismissed his aileron theory 5 months ago. They form up over the English Channel and climb to 22,000 feet. The bomber stream stretches for miles. The contrails are visible from 50 miles away. It is impossible to hide this much metal in the sky. They cross the French coast at 0845 hours. No flak. No fighters. The Germans are conserving resources, waiting for the bombers to penetrate deeper where Allied fighter range thins out. At 0920 hours, they reach the IP, the initial point where bombers begin their final approach to target. The P-47s orbit above and ahead, scanning for threats. The clouds thicken. Visibility drops. Halling's voice crackles on the radio. "Stay tight. Weather's getting worse." The formation enters a cloud bank at 16,000 feet. Wetmore loses sight of his leader. He flies on instruments, trusting his heading and altitude. 30 seconds, 60, 90, still no visual. He calls on the radio, no response, static. Wetmore breaks out of the clouds at 14,000 feet. He is alone. No friendly aircraft in sight. He checks his compass, confirms his heading, and begins a climbing turn back toward the bomber stream. Then he sees them. 6 Bf-109s at his altitude, 2 miles ahead, setting up an attack run on a lone B-17 straggler. The bomber is trailing smoke from the number 3 engine. It has fallen behind the formation. It is defenseless. The 109s are positioning themselves for a textbook execution. Wetmore checks his fuel. 30 minutes remaining. He checks his position. He is 200 miles inside enemy territory. He calls for backup on the radio. Static. He is alone. The B-17 has maybe 90 seconds before the first German opens fire. Wetmore makes a decision that will define the rest of his life. He pushes the throttle forward and dives toward the fight. Wetmore closes the distance at 400 mph. The 109s have not seen him yet. They are focused on the B-17, coordinating their attack. Wetmore has one advantage: surprise. He aims for the trailing pair, the wingmen who will be scanning for threats. At 800 yards, he opens fire. 8 50 caliber guns converge. Tracers walk across the sky. The rounds miss, but the message is clear. The German formation scatters. 2 109s break hard right. 2 break left. The lead pair pulls up. The B-17 is forgotten. They have a new problem. Hauptmann Ernst Hoffmann leads the German element, 47 kills, a veteran of Russia and North Africa. He has been flying Bf-109s since 1941. He knows every advantage his aircraft holds over the heavy American fighters. He keys his radio. Ein Thunderbolt, wir kriegen ihn. One Thunderbolt, we will get him. His wingmen acknowledge. They reposition. Standard tactics. 2 will engage from above, 2 from the flanks. Hoffmann will bait the American into a turning fight. Once the P-47 bleeds energy, they will take turns making passes until something vital breaks. Hoffmann has done this 12 times. He has never lost. Wetmore sees them setting up. He knows what is coming. His hands are steady on the controls. His breathing is controlled. The fear is there, but it is background noise. He thinks in numbers. 6 opponents, 8 guns, 300 rounds per gun, fuel for 28 minutes, altitude advantage, none, speed advantage, none. The only variable he controls is maneuver. He rolls his P-47 level and waits. Hoffmann dives first, a slashing attack from 2 o'clock high. Closure speed 550 mph, firing range 400 yards. Wetmore waits 300 yards, 200. Hoffmann's cannons flash. Wetmore slams the stick full left and pulls. Maximum aileron deflection. The P-47 snap rolls 90 degrees in 1 second. He pulls back on the stick. 6 Gs crush him into a seat. His vision tunnels. The airframe groans. Hoffmann flashes past, overshooting by 50 yards. Wetmore reverses, rolls right, levels out. His airspeed has dropped to 220 mph. Dangerous. He shoves the throttle to the firewall. Hoffmann's radio erupts. Dreht zu eng. He is turning too tight. Lieutenant Klaus Brenner attacks from the opposite side. Wetmore repeats the maneuver. Snap roll. Pull. Brenner overshoots. The Germans regroup at a distance. Hoffmann does not understand what he is seeing. P-47s do not turn like this. It violates everything he knows. He calls to his element. Koordinierter Angriff. Coordinated attack. All 6 109s position themselves in a wheel around Wetmore. They will attack simultaneously from multiple angles. He cannot evade them all. Wetmore sees the setup forming. His airspeed is back to 240 mph. His fuel gauge shows 22 minutes remaining. He cannot run. He cannot climb. He can only turn. The first 2 109s commit. Wetmore rolls into them, reversing his flight path. They overshoot. The second pair attacks before he can recover speed. He rolls again, pulls again. The Gs are cumulative. His vision fades at the edges. He grunts against the pressure, forcing blood back to his brain. The third pair attacks. Wetmore's response is slower. Fatigue is setting in, but the maneuver still works. They overshoot. Hoffmann keys his radio. His voice is tight with frustration. Wir können nicht mit ihm drehen. We cannot turn with him. The engagement lasts 6 minutes. Wetmore repeats his snap roll maneuver 11 times. Each time, the Bf-109s overshoot or break off. his gun. Camera records everything, frame after frame of German fighters flashing past. Too fast, too committed. Wetmore fires when he can, but his gunnery is poor. He is fighting to survive, not to score kills. His airspeed fluctuates between 210 and 260 miles per hour. He is riding the edge of stall with every maneuver. One mistake and the P-47 will depart controlled flight. One structural failure and the wings will fold. Neither happens. The airframe holds. Hoffman makes a final attempt. He climbs to 18,000 feet, rolls inverted, and dives vertically. He will use pure speed and geometry. No turning, just a straight firing pass. Wetmore sees him coming. He waits until Hoffman commits, then rolls perpendicular to the attack vector. Hoffman's rounds pass behind. He pulls out of the dive and climbs away. His fuel is critical. His wingmen are scattered across 10 miles of sky. The American should be dead. He is not. Hoffman keys his radio one last time. Abbrechen, zurück zur Basis. Abort, return to base. The 109s disengage. They dive east toward their airfield, low and fast. Wetmore does not pursue. He is out of ammunition. His fuel shows 14 minutes remaining. His hands are shaking on the stick. The B-17 is still flying. The crew has watched the entire fight. The pilot, Captain Bill Schreiber, keys his radio. Thunderbolt, you just saved our lives. Who are you? Wetmore does not respond immediately. His throat is dry. His vision is still blurred from the G-forces. He finally transmits. P-47, tail number 2126884, heading home. Schreiber's voice comes back. We owe you a case of whiskey. Meet us at debriefing. Wetmore acknowledges and turns west. He climbs back to 15,000 feet and flies alone over occupied France. The adrenaline begins to fade. The exhaustion hits. He lands at RAF Beaulieu 40 minutes later. One engine, fuel tanks nearly dry. Dutch Callahan is waiting on the hardstand. He sees Wetmore taxi in and notices immediately that something is wrong. The P-47's control surfaces are out of alignment. The ailerons are bent. The wing roots show stress cracks. Wetmore shuts down the engine and sits in the cockpit. He does not move. Dutch climbs up and opens the canopy. You hit? Wetmore shakes his head. Rough flight. Dutch helps him out. Wetmore's flight suit is soaked with sweat. His hands are still trembling. Dutch walks around the aircraft and whistles low. What the hell did you do to my airplane? Wetmore does not answer. He walks to the debriefing room. The gun camera footage is reviewed within 2 hours. Intelligence officers watch in silence. 11 evasive maneuvers, 6 Bf-109s engaged, 0 losses. The P-47 turning inside 109s repeatedly. It should not be possible. Captain Holling is called in. He watches the footage twice. His expression is unreadable. He asks Wetmore to explain what happened. Wetmore describes his aileron theory. The snap roll entry. The knife-edge turn. Holling listens without interrupting. When Wetmore finishes, Holling asks one question. Can you teach it? Wetmore pauses. I think so. Holling nods slowly. You better, because if this works, it changes everything. The debate begins immediately. Some commanders see Wetmore's maneuver as reckless. He exceeded aircraft limitations. He ignored doctrine. He survived by luck, not skill. Others see something different. A tactical innovation born from necessity. A way to equalize the P-47's turning disadvantage. The argument reaches group level within 48 hours. Colonel James Rowe reviews the gun camera footage personally. He is a former P-47 pilot, 87 combat missions, 3 confirmed kills. He understands the aircraft's limitations. He also understands that the war is not won by following outdated rules. Rowe makes a decision. Wetmore will teach his technique to volunteer pilots in a controlled test program. No official orders, no written doctrine, just quiet experimentation. 6 pilots volunteer. Wetmore briefs them in a hangar on September 10th. He uses a chalkboard to sketch the maneuver. Full aileron deflection, Snap roll to 90 degrees, then immediate back pressure. The key is timing. Initiate the roll the moment the attacker commits. Too early and he adjusts. Too late and you take fire. The volunteers practice at altitude with a chase plane simulating attacks. 3 pilots execute it successfully. 2 abort after experiencing severe buffet. 1 overstresses his airframe and is grounded for pushing too hard. But the 3 who succeed confirm what Wetmore discovered. The P-47 can turn tighter than published specifications, not in sustained turns, but in rapid reversals, snap maneuvers that disrupt firing solutions. By late September, word spreads through the squadron. Pilots begin experimenting on their own. Some adapt the technique, others modify it, adding rudder inputs or varying the roll rates. Not everyone can execute it. It requires precise timing, physical tolerance for high G-forces, and trust in the airframe. But those who master it survive situations that should kill them. Loss rates for P-47s in turning engagements drop measurably, not dramatically, but enough that intelligence officers notice. After-action reports begin mentioning unusual maneuvers. German pilots report American fighters turning aggressively, behaving unpredictably. The Luftwaffe adapts, becoming more cautious in their attacks. Caution reduces aggression. Reduced aggression saves lives. Wetmore flies 14 more missions before the war ends. He scores 2 confirmed kills, both with his snap roll technique. He is never shot down. He never loses a wingman under his command. In April 1945, he returns to California. He does not speak publicly about his innovation. When asked about his combat record, he describes it as ordinary. He enrolls at California Polytechnic, completes his engineering degree, and works for Lockheed for 30 years designing control systems. His wartime notebook ends up in an Air Force archive in 1952. It is filed under Tactical Analysis, Obsolete Aircraft. Few ever read it, but the principle survives. In the 1950s, jet fighter pilots rediscover the same concept, rapid roll reversals to defeat gunfire solutions. It becomes standard in air combat maneuvering courses. The technique evolves, adapts to faster aircraft, but the core insight remains Wetmore's. That aircraft can often do more than their published specifications suggest. That innovation comes from questioning assumptions, that survival sometimes requires doing what everyone says is impossible. Wetmore dies in 1998. His obituary mentions his engineering career. It does not mention the 6 Bf-109s. History forgets most details, but physics remembers. And every fighter pilot who snap rolls into a hard reversal owes a debt to a quiet farm boy who refused to accept that his airplane could not turn.